Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Jonathan and this is Abby. Today we're going to do a short flow that really deals with the posture. So you might be noticing with a lot of sitting, hunching, looking at your phone, being on your laptop or your computer for work, there's getting a tightness across the heart and the shoulders and stiffening up of the neck. So we'll work a little bit today to open that back up and feel a bit better in our body as far as our posture is concerned. So to get started, just find a comfortable seated position. It can be cross-legged or kneeling. You can sit on a prop if you wish. If you do have props handy, I'd recommend a couple blankets, towels, maybe a pair of blocks if you have them. If you don't have props, that's all right. Once you're in that comfortable seat, rest the palms face up. Close your eyes. And just take a few moments here to follow your breath. Just feeling a flow in through the nose and out through the nose. And as you keep that rhythm going, bring attention to your shoulders and your spine. Draw the shoulders back and down as you reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, feeling the spine get a bit taller, a bit longer. And checking in with your posture. Just noticing where you feel stiff, where you feel open. One more breath in through the nose, fill all the way up. Then open your mouth, sigh out that breath. Connect your palms in prayer at heart center, thumbs rest into the sternum. And take a moment to set an intention for your time on the mat. Let's take one last breath here together. Fill up. And open your mouth, release the breath. And blink the eyes open. Take the right hand out to the side, plant it on the floor. The elbow will bend slightly, but doesn't need to come all the way down to the mat. Inhale, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, and on a bit of a side bend, squeezing right side body, lengthen left side, look up past the left armpit towards the ceiling. Just notice the length here in side body, whether you feel like there's a bit of tension there, maybe in the low back on the left side. Take one more inhale. Exhale to come all the way up, left hand to the floor. Same idea, a little bend to the elbow, but the elbow doesn't have to find the floor. Inhale, reach the right arm up and over. Add a bit of a side bend, squeezing left side body, lengthening the right, breathing into right ribs. Look up past the right armpit if at all possible. Take one last breath. And slowly pull yourself all the way back up. Give the shoulders a little roll. Just notice if you're reaching the arm up, gave you sensation in the shoulder at all. You can reach the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers behind the back, squeeze shoulder blades together, and bring the big fist over towards the right hip. Right elbow hugs in. Left shoulder is now locked down a little bit more. Carefully lower the right ear towards the right shoulder. And just notice if you're getting more sensation here in the neck or across the front of the chest, the front of the shoulder here. For some of us that carry a lot of tension across the heart, right, we may be rounding a bit with our posture. We may be noticing that more than the neck. Take one more breath on this side before carefully releasing, coming back up through center. Look over one shoulder and then the other. Come back through center, same idea. Other thumb on top this time. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Bring the big fist over towards the left hip. Hug the left elbow in. Lower the left ear towards the left shoulder, lengthening the right side of the neck. And just be aware here, notice, are you feeling the neck more or the chest and shoulder? Where do you have a tendency to carry the tension as far as your posture is concerned? Just taking one last breath on this side. Slowly come back up through center, release, roll the shoulders. You can roll over the legs, finding a tabletop position. Hi, Abby, can I have this space? Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Exhale, tuck and round the spine. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and round, finding your cat pose. Inhale, lift and arch, cow. One more time, exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back through to neutral. Walk the knees back a touch and lie all the way down on your belly. I'm gonna need this spot, Abby. Excuse me. Press into the tops of the feet Inhale, peel up chest and chin, baby cobra, and pause in your baby cobra. Bring the attention to your shoulders. Draw the shoulders back and down. So it's almost like you're trying to draw the neck extra long here, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Push down to the tops of the feet. Hug the elbows in and start to pull your heart forward a bit more. You might notice the arms start to straighten a bit more, coming up a bit higher in your cobra, feeling the muscles in your back engage here. One more big inhale, your variation of baby or somewhere between baby and full cobra. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mats. Press yourself back up to tabletop. You can pause, take the hips and the shoulders side to side. Just allow the spine to neutralize. Walk the hands back towards the knees and then walk them up the thighs all the way to the hips. With the hands on the hips, there's a little tuck to the tailbone here. Push the hips forward. Notice the tension you might be carrying at the front of the hips. So the hip flexors here, if they're feeling pretty tight as well, that can also cause some rounding when we're sitting, right? That tug from behind. We want to find some length here at the front of the hips, just as much as we want to find length across the heart and the shoulders. That little tuck. One last breath before coming back through center. Shift the weight over to the left knee, left foot. Step the right foot towards the top of the mat. Lower the hips down towards the floor. The right knee more or less ends up stacked on top of the right ankle. Doesn't go past the toes. Hands on the hips, if you'd like, you can really feel the tilt of the pelvis here. Trying to find a slight tuck to the tailbone. Nice, and then reach the arms up, inhale. Exhale, interlace the fingers, take the hands behind the head, and then press the elbows forward. We're not actually trying to tuck the chin in. Push the head into the hands and feel the back of the neck engage. So from time to time, when you're noticing the neck getting a little bit stiff, that may not only be that it's getting very strong and tight, most of the time it's quite weak and tight. So we want to bring some strengthening back to the muscles in the back of the neck. Not just stretching the tension, but we want to build up some stability by strengthening. Take one last big inhale. And as you exhale, you can release the hands. The hands might come back to the hips. Shift the hips back and step the right foot back, right knee back. We're back in that kneeling shape. Push the hips forward again, finding that space, noticing left side or right side. The chin can stay slightly tucked here, so we're not overly concerned with looking back. Just keep the neck stable and strong. One more breath. Pull yourself up. Shift the weight to the right knee, right foot. Left foot steps forward. Allow the hips to sink forward, the hips sink down. The left knee pretty much stacks on top of the ankle, doesn't go past the toes. Hands can be on the hips at first to feel the tilt of the pelvis. There is a subtle tuck to the tailbone, stretching the right hip flexor a lot more than the left for sure. Inhale, reach the arms up. Same idea, interlace the fingers maybe the other way. Take the hands towards the back of the head, elbows press forward, press the base of the skull into the hands. So we got actually a nice sensation here still of strengthening the neck. The back of the neck has to work here. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, carefully release the hands. Hands come to the hips, shift the hips back, and step the left foot back. You're back in that kneeling shape. Press the hips forward, slight tuck to the chin, slight tuck to the tailbone, lengthening the hip flexors. Slowly coming back up. Bring the knees as wide as the mat. Untuck the toes behind you. Hips sink to the heels. Walk the hands forward, downward. Child's pose, Balasana. In your child's pose, long arms, tall torso. Breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Keep it comfortable, keep it easy. The next time you exhale, walk the hands just slightly off the left side of the mat. Add a bit of a side bend, revisiting the side bend, noticing if you feel the shoulder, the ribs, the low back. Take one last breath. Walk your hands back through center. Oop, just slightly off the right side. Hi, Abby. Breathe into the left ribs, the left side of the low back. Notice where you might be holding tension. One last inhale on this side before using the exhale to come back through to center. Shift forward to tabletop. Exhale, tuck and round the spine. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and rounds. Inhale, lift and arch. We'll do that one more time. Exhale, tuck and rounds. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back to neutral. Walk the knees back, lower down onto your belly. This time the hands won't help at all. Push down to the tops of the feet. Float the palms up an inch or two. Hug the elbows back. Like you're trying to touch the elbows between your shoulder blades. You're trying to get them to reach back and touch. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Draw the shoulders down. The neck is really long. Each inhale, try to lift the chest and the chin a little bit further away from the floor. So the muscles in your back really strongly engage. Don't have to lift up super high. You might be really close to the floor here. That's okay. The object is to feel the space between the shoulder blades strengthening. So we don't only want to stretch the front of the chest, we want to strengthen the upper back. And this is going to help to improve your posture, because the upper back being strong, your normal state is going to be that slight engagement, long, tall, neutral spine. Take one more inhale, your version of cobra without hands. Exhale the lower all the way back down. Press into the palms, come up to tabletop. And from your tabletop, you can walk the hands back towards the knees. Come up into the kneeling shape. Reach the arms back behind you. Interlace the fingers behind the back and squeeze shoulder blades together. Press your hips forward with a slight tuck to the tailbone. The object isn't to necessarily reach really far down with the hands, just to feel the front of the heart expand a bit more, the shoulders, and to feel the hip flexors lengthen here. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, carefully come up. Shift the weight over towards the left foot, left knee. Step the right foot forward towards the top of the mat. Back toes are tucked. Pick up the knee and press that heel back. Again, the knee is stacked over the ankle more or less. Don't let it go too far forward. Add the arms reaching up. Nice. Now this time you can catch the left wrist of the right hand, pull the arm up, squeeze right side body, and lengthen the left. So we get that little bit of side bend here, telling us a story about tension we carry in the lateral line. Back up, inhale. Exhale to release fingertips down towards the floor. Shift the weight into the right foot a bit more and carefully step the left foot to meet the right. Inhale, reach the arms up, find chair pose. Utkatasana, feel the legs, they have to activate here a little bit. And then carefully stand all the way up. Sweep the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers behind the back, squeezing shoulder blades together. Soften the knees, hip hinge and fold all the way over the legs. Restless dog today. Take one more big breath. Release the arms. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, place the palms, step the feet back, high plank. Now this high plank, we're going to take the hands a little bit wider apart. Setting up like you're going to do a push-up, because we're going to add on to that push-up we're going to do here. Lower all the way down towards your belly. And when you find the floor, inhale, lift the chest, the chin, reach the palms up away from the floor, lift the legs up away from the floor. Exhale, lower back down, plant the palms, tuck the toes. Inhale, plank, push up. Nice, knees can stay down if you need. Let's do that 2 more times. Carefully lower all the way down to your belly, exhale. Inhale, float everything up. Exhale to release. Plant the palms, tuck the toes, high plank, inhale. Nice, you can make the move as explosive as you want it to be. Let's do that 1 more time. Lower all the way down with control. Inhale to lift, again with control. Exhale to lower, thanks for working so hard, Abby. And then inhale, high plank. Take the hands back in a little closer. Let's find downward facing dog. Sit bones lifting up. Give it a little pedal. Reach up and out of the shoulders. Press your heart towards your toes. So actually feel a little bit more length and extension come into the upper back in this down dog. The heels might find the floor. They might be lifted. The knees can be straight. The knees can be bent. Take one last breath. Then carefully lower your knees down as wide as the mat. Big toes touch the back of the mat. Find child's pose, Balasana. In your child's pose shape, breathe comfortably in through the nose and out through the nose. Now 1 more big breath. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Shift forward to tabletop. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. 1 last time. Exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, lift and arch. Come back through to neutral. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Come up, hands to the hips if you'd like. Or again, interlace the hands behind the back. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Try to have the other thumb on top this time. As the heart puffs up, tuck your tailbone slightly, push the hips forward. Doesn't matter how far down the hands come, they can be only just slightly down. We're looking for length on front side body, across the heart, across the shoulders, across the hips. One last breath. Pull yourself up. Nice. Shift the weight over towards the right knee, right foot. Step the left foot towards the top of the mat. Back toes are tucked. Pick up the knee. We're coming to the high lunge here. Still that little subtle tuck. Belly and ribs are drawing in. Strong legs here. Left knee stacked over the left ankle. Don't let it go too far past the toes if that's happening to you. Take the foot further forward. Inhale to reach the arms up. Catch the right wrist, the left hand. Pull the arm up and squeeze left side body. Lengthen the right. Notice if you're holding more tension in right side versus the left. Come back up, inhale. Exhale to release fingertips down to the floor. Shift some weight into the left foot and step the right foot to meet the left. Sweep the arms up, inhale, Uttanasana. And exhale, stand all the way up. Nice, Samasthiti, Tadasana. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, sweep the arms back behind you, interlace the fingers behind the back, squeeze shoulder blades together. And we'll soften the knees, hip hinge and fold all the way over the legs. When you find that the knees can be slightly bent, totally fine. Take one more inhale, drive the fist away from you. Exhale to release the hands down to the floor. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, place the hands to the mat, step the feet back, find your plank. We're doing the same thing again, the hands go a little bit wider. Lower down with control, all the way down to your belly. Lift the legs up, lift the palms up. Inhale, chest and chin lifts up. Exhale, release. Inhale, push explosively, high plank. Let's do that 2 more times. Lower slowly. Nice. Inhale, lift up everything. Palms floats. Exhale to release. And then inhale, push explosively, lift up. And we'll do that one last time. Lower down with control. Inhale to float the chest, the chin, the hands, the legs. Exhale to lower. Inhale, push explosively, high plank. Hands come back in. Find your downward facing dog, pedaling out the heels. Give your head a little shake, not a yes, shake it no. Nice. Chest pushes towards the toes. There's no rush here at all. You can inhale, look forward. Exhale, bend the knees. Step or walk slowly to the top of the mat. Sit all the way down to your bum. Extend the legs forward. And give it a little shake. Oh, Abby. So now that we're a little bit more warmed up, the blood is flowing. I'm going to add a little bit of propping these next couple shapes. If you have blocks, you can use blocks. If you don't, blankets are a great option. Take one block behind you, and that's going to go at the lowest setting, running the width of your mat. The other block, the medium setting, running the width of your mat. As you lie back, that first block will find your shoulder blades. The second block, the base of the skull. Now, if this isn't working with blocks, you can do the exact same setup with as many towels or blankets as you wish. Just make sure the shoulder blades feel supported. Palms can rest face up next to the thighs. They can reach out really wide. My personal favorite, you get a little bit more into the front of the shoulders and the chest, is cactus arms in this shape. Forearms resting to the floor, breathing across the heart. So the emphasis here is extension of the upper back. Not so concerned with the neck being really extended. So the support under the base of the skull, you can adjust it, but just make sure you don't feel any pinching, any crunching at the back of the neck. So if you are going lower, you can take the block lower, you can even completely remove it, totally fine, as long as the neck feels pretty neutral here. There's no crunch or discomfort at the back of the neck. Breathe here. Try to direct your inhales to the space across the heart. So we get this sensation here that we're really taking advantage of the ribs, the collarbone, as we follow our breath. Resetting the posture. Getting some space back after maybe losing that space to all the texting, all the time we spend online. Take one last inhale here. And open your mouth side out. To come out of the shape, move slowly. The palms can push into the floor, tuck your chin, peel yourself back up off the prop. Move the prop off to the side. Once everything's out of the way, lie all the way down on your back. Once you're lying flat, you can squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit here. So I actually feel like we're trying to flatten the shoulder blades into the mat a touch more. I know there's no block there anymore, we're lying flat. Just notice that sensation here. Still, the heart is a bit more expanded here. The front of the shoulders expanded. Okay, so then bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor, lift your hips up off the mats, and then bring your palms to the floor underneath your hips. Thumbs are touching, palms push into the mat. The elbows can be slightly bent here. Lower your hips back down, so you're actually sitting on the back of the hands here, kind of sitting on the thumbs. Extend the legs again. You feel the glutes flatten out here over the fingers. Push into your palms, into the forearms, and start to squeeze the shoulder blades together here. Push your heart up towards the ceiling and walk the elbows in a little bit closer. So kind of like when we interlace the hands behind the back and feel the shoulder blades squeeze together and puff up the heart, we're finding that same idea here. Half fish pose. Squeeze the legs together, point the toes. If the head is coming down, right, you keep a little tuck to the chin. It doesn't have to be fully extended here, especially if that makes you feel crunched up in the neck. You can keep a little tuck and the head can hover. So what's going to happen there if you don't allow the head to rest to the floor in your half fish is that we get some neck strengthening, not just stretching. So it's a pretty active shape. Squeeze the inner thighs together, puff up the heart, lift the chest up. If you're doing something a bit more passive, the head may be resting to the floor, but notice that makes the shoulders sag and the neck feel not so nice. If that's happening, push into your palms a bit more. Feel the head get light again. Even a little tuck to the chin if the neck feels not so nice. Just one more breath. Half fish. Squeeze the inner thighs. When it's time to release, come down slowly. Wiggle the elbows a bit wider. Bend your knees. Soles of the feet to the floor. Lift your hips up and remove the hands. You can give them a little shake. Actually feels kind of nice. You get some compression into the thumb joints. You get that blood and lymphatic fluid back after you release. Let's reach and find the blankets or the towels. Press into the feet, lift the hips up, place those blankets or towels, fold it to any heights, again underneath the sacrum. So we're going a little bit lower now. The emphasis is more towards the hip flexors, still keeping the shoulder blades slightly squeezed together. Step the feet to the top of the mat, straighten the legs, lie flat over the prop setup. Now if you're noticing in this particular shape, you feel like you need a bit more stretch, totally fine. You can add on. You're still using blankets, but I'd even recommend taking your block or even a couple blocks, place them below the sacrum, and then grab one or both of your blankets and place that on top and see if that feels a little bit nicer. Still get some cushion from the blankets, but we also get a little extra height from the blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can get pretty creative with this. You can do it with books, you can do it with pots and pans. If you're pretty open, you have something like that stool over there and you want to go all the way up to something that's a bit higher, like a little stool, you could even use a stool. Rest the palms face up. Keep the shoulder blades slightly squeezing together. And breathe into your belly. The lower abdominal wall here, interacting with our hip flexors, our iliopsoas system, tugging some length here into front side body. Reclaiming our posture. Just one last breath. Open your mouth and release the breath. Bend your knees, soles of the feet to the floor. Lift your hips up. Carefully remove the props off to the side. There's no rush. Now if you need to come back down and release for a second, totally fine. You can also choose to stay lifted. Staying lifted here, palms can press into the floor. Thighs stay parallel in hip width. Squeeze shoulder blades together and lift the hips up a bit more. So kind of like we're revisiting the shape that we did when we were kneeling. The only difference is our chin is tucked in this version. But the back of the neck still feels pretty long here.
not crunching up the back of the neck. Keep the chin pointed up to the ceiling. If you'd like to add on, you can interlace the hands behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together even more, and drive the fist down into the floor. Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. This is one of the ultimate for me as far as if I'm feeling like I've been rounded quite a bit, I've been really neglecting my posture, I'll come and do this shape for a while. Get it back by strengthening the back, lengthening the front. Makes a big difference. Give yourself one more inhale. And then releasing the hands, reach the fingertips up to the ceiling, lower the spine down with care. There's no rush. Once you're fully released, windshield wiper the knees to the right and to the left, massaging the outer hips. You can come back through to center, straighten your legs, lie flat. Now, as you lie flat, I invite you to bring a little bit of attention here to the space across your heart, to the front of the shoulders. Just notice if some of this has created some awareness of where you're a little bit more restricted, where there's openness, where there's stability in your joints and your muscles, and where there's opportunity to get a little bit stronger. Settle into your breath. Really short Shavasana. Notice where your attention is going. Gently nudge it in the direction of your breath, lengthening each inhale and each exhale. As your breath reconnects you to the body, move your fingers, move your toes, turning your head side to side. Inhale, reach the arms back behind you, straighten the legs out in front of you, stretch it out, and exhale to soften. You can bend the knees, bring the soles of feet to the floor, either roll to one side or use some momentum, rock up into a seated position. Sit cross-legged or kneeling, returning to the shape we began our practice. Palms can rest face up, sit up nice and tall. Just as we began, to close, bring the attention to the length of your spine, sit tall, crown of the head reaches up, and the shoulders draw back and draw down. So we really exaggerate that space across the front of the heart. Lengthen your inhales and your exhales. Acknowledge the space you've created for yourself today. Let's take one last breath here. Fill all the way up. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Palms connect in prayer at heart center, thumbs rest into the sternum. Revisit your intention. I invite you to carry that with you off your mat, share with the people you love. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here and practicing with me virtually. If you have questions for Queenie or I, we'd love to hear from you. Please do comment below or feel free to send us a message directly to our Instagram account at Phair Yoga. Abby says thank you, and yeah, she's a bit lazy today, but that's okay. Sometimes we need that. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.